We have like a huge marketing budget, so 40 million plus. And a big part of it, at least as compared to other competitor or other actor in the market, in the SaaS market, we are investing a lot in well-crafted video, even if we truly believe into AI. We invest a lot on UX because that's such a big differentiation for the brand that you are building. But we are still planning for the future, and like the MCP server, like to be able to be an app on ChatGPT so that you can configure full funnel and cross-platform campaign with just one chat.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Evergrow Show, and today's guest is somebody I am extremely excited about. Today we have with us Romain Marsal, who is the head of growth for Vibe.co, but his journey into being head of growth has been quite unique and non-traditional. Romain joined Vibe.co as a founding software engineer after having worked with the founders on their previous business. When Vibe reached product market fit, Romain was offered the opportunity to build and scale the growth department and take responsibility of Vibe's go-to-market, growth, and analytics infrastructure. Since transitioning into his growth role, Romain has managed to scale Vibe from 10 million to over 140 million in ARR. Romain, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Philip. I'm very happy to be here.
What are some of the things that you are most excited about in the world of growth and marketing right now?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. Growth is one of the functions where you have to have like multi-skills. Like it's one of the functions where the multi-skill set is so important. And the fact that AI just arrived makes it so much more interesting, because since the beginning of growth, you needed like multi-skill set, like data, engineering, content, marketing, sales. You needed to be like to make a bit everything, but it was just not possible to be good at everything because like it takes so much time to be good and be like an expert on every point that it was just not possible. I feel like with AI, we are tending towards a path where you can have like that true ability to be really performing on every like skill set, you know. So it doesn't mean that you are good yourself, but it's just that you have your strong expertise, that you're coming from a data background, you're coming from a software background. So you have that true expertise that lies into yourself. But the fact that you can learn so fast and that you can act day one, for example, for me on content, I never made any content like before coming to growth. But the fact that I can like learn and execute, like learn by doing day one on content, marketing, sales, means that you can like progress so much faster on all the skill set that you don't have in the first place, that you can reach that ultimate growth way faster than you were able to do before. And it's a bit the same for every people that you're hiring, you know. So I'm looking for not people that are able to do stuff day one. I'm trying to find people that have a wide range of skill set or they can learn fast, so that I can put them into a place where they learn with AI, and at the end of the day, they will be good, very good on a lot of stuff at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And it's actually fascinating. There's really two camps of people that I speak with. One group of people like yourself, very excited about the opportunities, very eager to jump in and learn and understand these tools and figure out how they can apply them. And then obviously you have the other camp. It's just people that are very, very fearful of the shift that is going on. But I think it's really interesting to almost try to work against this massive tidal wave of change that is happening in the industry and continue to do things the same way you've always done them before, and continue to basically live in a world that hasn't adapted to this technology. And, you know, obviously, I think there's a clear winner between those two groups of people. And I'm very glad to hear that you're embracing the shift, that you're embracing the change, and really figuring out how to adapt and just generally having a positive attitude towards it. And I think the other thing that you mentioned that to me has become super clear is that I think in the last, let's just say, decade or so, it was in somebody's interest to become a specialist in one sort of very, very vertical field within marketing and growth, right? So somebody might have been a paid ad specialist, but not even just a paid ad specialist that specifically specialized in Meta as a channel, for example, or even back then was Facebook. And now I feel like this extremely vertical focus is actually working against folks. And I feel like having that horizontal, that wide breadth of knowledge is something that is really, really becoming clear as like a true asset in this world for marketers. And I think for all professionals in general.
Yeah, fully aligned on that. And I'm like applying that methodology to the organization that I'm putting in place, you know. So we are spending like 12 million a year in paid ads. So that's quite a lot. Like the usual path would have been like to take one paid ad guy for LinkedIn, one for Meta, one for Google, one for Vibe, like one per basically like medium that you are trying to apply. I don't think it's relevant anymore in the world of AI because like you have the ability to make your team more efficient and you have the ability to build system for them. So it means that instead of doing some manual action like checking if some ads hit creative fatigue or that kind of stuff, the AI can do that. So if you provide tooling, provide systems that help them not doing the manual work that is not interesting for your company, but just like taking decision and actioning that data insight into decision that can make your growth engine better, that's the way to do it. And on our side, so we have like on the paid ad side, just one guy. And the fact is that you are winning as well by having one guy because he has the full context of every platform. So he can build a funnel that is not his own on like platform, but like a funnel that makes sense across four different platforms. So that's really just wins to have like people that are way more efficient and way more horizontal because they can put in place a strategy that makes sense across channels.
Absolutely. And speaking of kind of what you guys are working on at Vibe, I would love to hear about some of the bets that you guys are placing in terms of Vibe's growth, as far as, you know, the tools that you guys might be putting into place, some of the processes that you might be putting into place, and then would love to hear actually a bit more about, you know, what your team growth plan is and what your hiring plan is, because I'm actually seeing this trend, and this is from a lot of very, very smart folks that I'm speaking with. They're actually pretty significantly consolidating their teams, and they're really having, you know, 10x the output with a significantly leaner team. So would love to chat a little bit more about what you guys are doing at Vibe and some of the things that are working for you.
Yeah. One of our theses since the beginning, and it's not a common one in the B2B tech startup world, it's we want to be the best at like operating a paid ads engine, you know? And why, like, if you come back to first principle again, like we are selling ads. We are Vibe.co. We are a platform that sells ads on TV. So the best way to show our prospect that we are like good at what we do is to show them that we can do it for ourselves and cross platforms. So, you know, I posted a post on LinkedIn, like stating a bit our marketing budget and how we want to spend it, which had a big focus on paid ads. And like, I had a lot of reactions like telling me, why you use paid ads? Like it's so 2020 like strategy. Why are you doing that? You should do influencer. You should do AEO. Of course, we are doing that. But I'm just telling you that for us, in our context, if I come back to first principle, the stuff that makes more sense for us is to be super great at paid ads. And the fact is that we are seeing so much prospects in our sales call telling us, fuck guys, you are so good at paid ads. So it's super personalized everywhere. I'm touched across every platform. The journey makes so much sense. We are touching performance marketer. So they are super sensitive to that kind of messaging because you know, they are a bit benchmarking what the competition is doing. And when we touch them that way, it's just the best way to convince them that we are a good like budget to invest on TV. So this is a bit like the biggest stuff that we've done since the beginning, and we are still progressing on that. Of course, we are adding like new channel because in a way to go up market, to go those big clients, big enterprise deals, You have to do some other stuff than paid ads. Like, so we are of course on AEO, SEO, like all the basics, outbound, partnership, events. But for each channel, the fact is that we are very data driven and we try to like fully experiment the channel to find the best way that we can make it for ourselves, you know. So a very good example for outbound is that everybody is using those signals, you know, job changes, open like a new job desk, that kind of stuff. On our side, we know that we are in the marketing world and that the best signals we can have is getting the pixels on every website from our total addressable market. So we build the system for that, you know. We build those systems instead of using a third party to be able to collect that data every week, because that data is so important that we have to have first party data to get the messaging that create the GTM alpha, you know. And we could have used BuildWith, we could have used Webalizer, we could have used like third party, but the fact is that Webalizer is not detecting the pixel of our competitor. BuildWith the same, because it's too much of a niche at the moment, CTV. So we just built it ourselves, use it as a GTM alpha, so that when we use it as an outreach strategy, it actually creates value and it actually creates the wow effect for prospect. So if, for example, the guy doesn't have the competitor pixel for 1 week and put the competitor pixel for week 2, we get it and we reach out. Hey, here is like free credits for you to test a campaign on Vibe, to test us against our competitor. This is for you. Like when you are a prospect, you say, wow, they are good.
Yeah, and that's fascinating. There's kind of really three opportunities, right, in terms of growth into a specific channel, which is kind of buy, build, or partner. So obviously the buy, you know, you could spend the money and figure out how to sort of get distribution. Then on the partner side, you know, could have potentially reached out to Build With and said, hey, we have this niche, but we think it's a growing niche. But obviously that biz dev process would have taken a long time and they would have kind of held you captive. And you guys said, no, we are going to sit down and we're going to build our own solution and we're going to enable ourselves to in real time get a good signal, a perfect signal, especially for what you guys are working on, for kind of who's in the market for our solutions. And so I think that's a fascinating example of, you know, enabling yourself and not necessarily relying on a third party. Whereas a lot of folks out into the, you know, in the market would say, why are you building your own solution? That is not your core competency. That is not what your main business is. But I think, you know, the results speak for themselves. You guys get real-time signals that then enable you to go to market so much quicker and basically address the signal, the intent signal at the source when it's happening. I love that solution.
Yeah, exactly. And the AI waves allows that, because like the buy versus build, like the balance, like just like got rebalance in a way, because like
Totally.
before, like pre-ChatGPT, it was like so expensive to build like custom solutions that the SaaS has taken like so much time to build. While now it's a bit different, and like on every new component, new feature that we are adding to our GTM stack, we have that reflection. So
Yeah.
should I buy? Should I build? And it doesn't mean we build every time, but it just means that the requirement for the buy change as well, because in a world where you want to have agents across your GTM stacks, the data that you have in your data warehouse becomes the best value that you can have for your GTM motions. Because on top of that, you can basically build any full-time employee, but that you don't pay because it's an agent doing the work, you know. So even for the buy, so we require every like vendor to get access to the data loaded into our data warehouse, so that we can like cross with our other data sets and build value, build agents, build just LLM workflows on top of it. And for the build, it's a bit the same thing, because like we are building everything on top of our data. And so if we just have to build a UI or workflows or anything in between, that's just like way easier to do it with Lovable, Cursor, whatever, Cloud Code, whatever tools there is out there. And it's just like so much more interesting on the growth side to work on those topics, because, you know, growth is seen pretty much as a marketing or acquisition, like focus on acquisition. But like today, like you have like way more project that you can take. And if you have like a growth team that is like good technically and good at understanding the business needs, it can make like tons of projects that can bring you at a great level.
There's always been this really interesting kind of schism, especially, with the focus on marketing and growth, that usually companies did not have the resources to enable strong growth, and focus on growth and marketing projects. And I think this shift that you're talking about is just so instrumental to the enablement of strong growth. You no longer need to allocate development resources. You no longer necessarily need dedicated engineering power. You just need to be technically proficient enough, or, like you said, in your hiring strategy, a good enough learner with generalist skills to very quickly be able to adapt and to understand, I have all the tools, I have all the resources, I have basically unlimited power available, that is now concentrated in these AI tools. It is just how to leverage it and how to make sure that I'm building something that, is useful for my company. And I think also, another really interesting point that you made is that you are no longer, as a marketer, or we as marketers are no longer living in a world where we need to be proficient in a specific UI or a specific type of interface. I think, as we've seen, even with Facebook ads, Meta ads, right? Their ad manager interfaces changes now almost on a daily basis. And so if you haven't logged in a few months, like, it might look radically different. But I think that the world that we're heading into and the future that we're heading into is that user interfaces are spun up for the specific use case that they are required for. And then just as quickly as they're spun up, they're deprecated. And it is no longer a UI-centric game. It is no longer a platform-centric game. It is now a use case and an output-centric game. I'm personally, again, in the first camp of marketers that is just so excited for that, because I feel like that's something that I've wanted my entire career, and now that dream is finally coming true.
Yeah, definitely. When you think about it, that's crazy that before AI, you were hiring people just for the knowledge they had on a given UI, so that's terrible to think. And that's like, when you think about it, that makes it like so much like 2010, but no, it was 2020, so it was like 5 years ago. And like, we are even more than like just building UI that is adapted to your need. And the path that we are taking with Vibe.co as well is that, so of course we have a great product we invest a lot on UX, because that's such a big differentiation for the brand that you are building. But we are still planning for the future, and like the MCP server, like to be able to be an app on ChatGPT, so that you can configure full funnel and cross-platform campaign with just one chat, just telling, build me like 4 campaign, one in each platform, doing that kind of stuff, so that it can action like just the creation of the objects that needs to be done. So, you don't need to learn any UI to do that. You just need to learn what's the best strategy, how you put that in place, what's a good marketing messaging is, what's a good targeting, what's your audience is, where do they hang out, what do they do at what time. So you just need to have those kind of like understanding, and like, which is again like a first principle in a way. And then the execution of creating a campaign, it's not where the salary is going. The salary is going on the ability of thinking about problems and solving them. So in a way, like, I would say that in 2 years, you don't need any like person that needs to know how to like configure a campaign on a given platform. You just need a guy that is able to roll out a paid ad strategy from content production, like static, video, whatever, to the execution of the targeting and the campaign live.
Absolutely. And we're seeing the change happen in real time. I mean, it is very, very quickly shifting over from technical fundamentals into creativity, into strategy, into being able to understand at a fundamental and a first principles level. And I love that you talk about first principles. I'm a huge believer in high agency and first principles. I mean, I think that just makes the best professionals in general, but I think is becoming increasingly increasingly important. And you touched on, kind of the next 2, 3, maybe 5 years. I think 5 years might be a little far because things might be so radically different that we're not even ready for it. But I would love to hear about your thoughts on what some of the biggest opportunities over the next few years will be, in your opinion, in the world of growth and marketing.
I mean, that's a very good question. And actually, so what I'm trying to put in place at Vibe.co is basically having, because as I told you, like for me, any company should have two stacks, like the product stacks where the product run and the GTM stacks where like the GTM operations run with all the data, all the agent on top of it. And like the world I'm seeing right now is like, but it's not in 5 years, it's in 1 year, in 2 years. It's like all those boring operations done by marketing, sales, CSM, like anyone will be done by agents, being like relaunched, like a payment failed where it's personalized, etc., etc. But like today we already have those basic automation, but in a very like classic way. So the customer journey is actually not great and very much like the same everywhere. Like from like one SaaS to the other SaaS, you get exactly the same type of messaging across the exact type of events, like at key customer journey stages into the funnel. And what I'm seeing is really like being back at something that is personalized at scale, like a place that we might have reached like in the past, but that were reserved to bigger prospects, because like you get like the care and the personalization only if you were like a big client. But the fact is that I think we will be into a world where like everybody, like from the dental practice to the lawyer, like to the lawyer peoples to like the cloud Anthropic bigger enterprise deal, everyone will have the same care that will be taken care of by some kind of agent by putting the human just at the right time in the loop. And that's great because it means we will be back at something that feels way more personalized, adapt to your needs, and that will be way more enjoyable from a buyer perspective, So I don't think it's a 5-year process, but overall, just like having agents like running autonomously to run like all the functions into the GTM stack to make everything like super personalized, super accessible, and like way like making just like a great customer funnel, that would be just a great achievement.
And that is such a good point. Just the other day, I was on LinkedIn and Jason Lemkin from SaaStr, he posted, I hit up a company, a vendor, ready to buy. All I wanted to do was just to make a payment and get onboarded into the software. And instead, he got, hey, I want to hop on a call with you before you make the purchase. And I think I love your point so much about ultimately this tooling is so much better for the customer experience. I know what I want as a customer. If I want to speak with somebody, I will make that very clear. If I don't want to speak with anybody and I'm just ready to deploy budget, I will make that very clear. And so I think having a human immediately available might not actually always be the most beneficial. A human needs to be available when the human is needed in the equation. And for some people, I myself, most of the time, by the time that I am ready to purchase, I have done so much research, actually a lot with AI tools these days, that the last thing that I want to do is have another barrier to entry to actually starting to use a software. And so I think not only will the user experience change, but I think fundamentally how we sell software, how we deploy software to our customers is going to shift. And I think, coming back to what we talked about before, it's not about having more humans. It's not about necessarily having a human at every stage of the process. It is about having the right humans at the right stage in the process where they're applicable. And I think that kind of creates a huge win-win situation, both for companies as well as their potential customers.
Yeah, fully aligned. And it's the same for the product. Like GTM experience is one thing, but like product experience is as well another thing. And like having those two sides playing in synergies is as well another thing, because usually we build a great product fully accessible and the GTM like makes it like completely like blocked with whole of payment and pricing just because finance needs prediction and like predictability, etc., etc. So we'll have like personalized product, personalized GTM, full in synergy. Thanks God, that should have been like this since the beginning, but AI will permit that, and that's very good for the buying side.
Absolutely. I know I'm personally excited for it. But I know we spoke a lot about, opportunities and potentially, some of the benefits of this whole kind of AI revolution within the world of growth and marketing. I would love to ask you if you have any fears or concerns about where the field of business in general, but specifically as it pertains to growth and marketing, is moving in the direction of potentially over-reliance on AI, or how AI can potentially negatively impact growth and marketing in the future.
Yeah. So if growth and marketing don't find the right balance into the usage of AI, we'll find basically the same product, the same messaging, the same branding everywhere. And it will get worse as we get used to that AI wave, because like just building strong skills in terms of creativity, branding, feeling what is good, feeling what is liked, feeling what is like consumed, feeling what is like laughed about. So that's such a skill set, and that needs like training, and that needs as well like some practice. And if you don't practice it because you think AI can produce content for you, can like create jokes for you, can create visuals for you, you will just lose like your ability to create, and it will get worse as you continue into that path. So it's very important than the AI. So I'm very much for AI, but at some point we need to create delight. And delight is not just built with AI. Delight is built with your brain plus AI that makes the stuff efficient. But you have to like delegate some stuff to the AI, and creativity is definitely not one of them. You can challenge your creativity with AI, but you definitely need to keep training your brain to, and specifically as a marketer, to understand the human like way of thinking, what they like, what make them laugh, etc., etc. So that's definitely something that is super important, and I feel like only the best marketers will be able to do it, which means we will have strong winners, and we will have like a long tail of like basic SaaS, basic consumer products that won't like basically make it, and won't cut it through the noise. So that's very, very important that the marketers keep that in mind, so that they make the right use of AI and bring basically marketers will be paid for their creativity, So just if you won't keep being paid, just keep that key assets into your skill set.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot this sentiment recently. People used to say that ideas are just a dime a dozen and it's all about execution. And I'm actually starting to see a bit of a fundamental shift over into original, unique, creative ideas are now actually becoming increasingly more rare. And I think something that I was really excited to ask you about, especially because you guys work with such a visual channel, right? You guys are serving creatives via TV, and this is something that traditionally involved a ton of creativity and capturing people's attention just visually, graphically, right? Through storytelling. I wonder, are you starting to see a trend of a lot of teams moving over into AI creatives? And, kind of what are your thoughts about the benefits of obviously saving a ton of money, saving a ton of time, but then potentially on the counter side, potentially killing the creativity that once made these experiences so magical?
Yeah, definitely we have very unique data sets on that side, and like we need to basically build like a expert report on that kind of like learning that we have internally, because like, we have like 10K like advertisers active on Vive using several assets per campaign. So it means we have a lot of data on what's used, how it's produced, because we exchange as well on those tips with our advertisers. My opinion on that, and the opinion we share as well with our advertisers, and we are going that route because we provide as well an AI video generation tool, and we build partnership with the best ones out there, is that it's okay to use AI production if you're small and if you want to start and launch a bit like the engine or the motion, because no video will be worse than one AI video, So at least you have something. But at some point, and it's the case for us, because today we have like a huge marketing budget, so 40 million plus. And a big part of it, at least as compared to other competitor or other actor in the market, in the SaaS market, we are investing a lot in well-crafted video, even if we truly believe into AI. And AI video is just not here to replace well-crafted video. It's just here to make more content as compared to what you will be producing as well-crafted video, And AI is as well very good when you have a strong basics into well-crafted video that you can reuse and repurpose into the AI. So that's how we are seeing the stuff. So good to start, but when you scale, do not forget to invest into well-crafted video, because if you keep going just with AI, you will lose such a big opportunity in terms of growth, because just only AI won't bring you until the next stage. So invest, keep using AI. It will just make more content and reduce the creative fatigue and be able to be present across more surfaces, more often, etc. But invest into well-crafted video. And our side, that's definitely what we are doing. And we are trying, that's where we are putting as well our big creativity, because I was mentioning paid ads as a way to sell by being the example. Creativity, video, like video creative is exactly the same for us. We are selling TV ads. So we need to be good at paid ads, but we need to be good at creatives, because we need to show how it's done when you are at the forefront of this industry. And that's why we are putting a lot of money. And that's why you will see us a lot through great video creatives the next year.
And it's interesting to see this exact trend and this exact sentiment starting to apply across everything, whether it's video creative or graphic creative, static creative, or even copywriting. I mean, some of the biggest AI companies in the entire world are hiring copywriters at crazy salaries right now, because I think everybody who is at the forefront of this field is definitely starting to understand that this is in no way, shape, or form a replacement for human beings or human creativity. It is a way to scale. It is a way to improve efficiency. It's a way to cut bloat. It's a way to really take the initial seed of creativity and stretch it to go as far and wide as possible. But in no way, shape, or form are these tools going to replace fundamentally extremely creative and unique concepts and great execution on those concepts.
Yeah. Super good example. So OpenAI hiring like a content strategist to build like their blog is exactly the same than us, like building like a super great creative. So if you don't do that, you won't cut through the noise, and like you will just be like a basic player. And so if you truly want to be among the winners at some point, you need to put money and put creativity into like what you are building in a human way, like powered by AI, of course. And that's what will bring you to the next level. Yeah.
Romain, I would love to ask you a bit of a crazy human creative question. If you could broadcast one message to every single founder and every single marketer in the entire world with no limitations, what would that one message be?
That's a tricky question. Don't be boring. So be creative, don't be boring. And I mean, if you want to sum up the marketing job like in 2026, that's just that. Like, be creative, don't be boring, be efficient with AI, and just provide joy to your prospect, I mean, I'm so done with the basic messaging, basic creatives like that don't make me laugh, So just make me laugh. Like Ramp is as like I love Ramp, So it's finance, it's boring, but like I'm following their Instagram because like I love their video where I have a ton of fun because it's funny, and I'm not even into the US culture yet, So I'm French, so I don't have all the like understanding of the jokes because it's very specific as well to the US sometimes. But I'm just loving it. And like, we need more of this in Europe. We need more of this in the US. We need more of this everywhere. So marketer needs to stop being boring, be creative, and like provide joy to the people they are reaching out to.
Spoken like a true top 1% marketer. I mean, it is, to me, it's funny because I feel like every few years we have this awakening where I remember just a few years ago, the kind of meta was, you are selling to humans, you're not selling to machines, so B2B needs to speak to humans as though they are humans. And now the same thing is happening where it's, don't be boring, be creative, you know, put your best foot forward and make people care and make people pay attention, whether it be through humor, whether it be through drama. Anything that actually speaks to real human emotions is the thing that is going to be successful. Absolutely 100% aligned with that. And I think everybody needs to rewind that and then just watch it again and internalize it and say it in the mirror every single morning. Don't be boring. Romain, this was such an awesome chat. If people want to follow along with your journey and want to see more of your content, where should they look?
You can follow me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm the most active.
Awesome. And we will definitely link that in the show notes. Romain, thanks again so much for joining us. I think ton of value. Very, very excited to get this out into the world. And I'm very excited for people to internalize and take your messages to heart and just start really just doing some great shit out there. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, Philippe. I had a lot of fun.